Chii No Oya. A mother figure with large breasts. They are also always depicted as having long black hair that is rather unkempt and looks very washed out like most other ghosts. So that is the yokai called Chii No Oya, which literally means the breast or milk of a parent. This particular yokai would always be in graveyards in search of dead children to breastfeed and to nurse them with their big breasts. I have to mention the big breasts because that is a definite description of the Chii No Oya. Anyways, other than graveyards, they are also said to be the cause of death if a recovering sick child dies. So a simplified story of it goes something like this. A child was sick and in bed. He was showing signs of recovery, so he was left to rest. But suddenly, a large-breasted woman appeared before him and said, "Come here, my boy," offering to nurse him. So he did, and he died. The end. Betobeto-San. Have you ever felt like someone is following you from behind, but when you look behind, no one's there? It could be Betobeto-San, an invisible yokai that only appears at night. Imagine you are walking along a street alone at night. You hear footsteps behind you, so you look back. Nothing. So you continue walking. The footsteps continues as well. As you proceed, you notice that the footsteps slowly synchronizing with your own pace, just right behind you. You look back. Still nothing. So there's two things you can do. One, ignore it and be paranoid for the rest of your life or night, depends on the creature's whims. Or two, step to the side of the road, acknowledge it and say, "Betobeto-San, Osakini Okoshi," or "Betobeto-San, Osakini dozo," which means, "Please, you first." Surprisingly, they would gladly accept and move on. There's one story though where Betobeto-San refused to move on because it was a very dark night, and the guy it was following had a lantern. So the guy offered his lantern, and again Betobeto-San happily accepted. When the lantern was taken away from him, all the guy saw was the lantern bobbing about in the air as the invisible Betobeto-San was walking away. So are they dangerous? Probably not. They probably just don't like walking alone at night. Shirime. When you hear ghost stories or monster stories, some of them always describe the eyes of that particular creature in the story, may it be red eyes that glows or sharp eyes that penetrates your soul. Well, the Shirime has an eye, and that eye is located on its buttocks, exactly where its anus should be. It's really apparent from its name, which means backside eye. Another feature of the Shirime is that it has no facial features, so it has a blank face. A bit like the Muonna, as talked in another video. Anyways, the Shirime are not dangerous, but they do like to shock or scare people, and this is what they always do. Usually late at night, on the street or road, the Shirime would appear like a normal man, at least from afar. They would slowly approach travelers and call out to them, and once it has their attention, it would start undressing without any warning. Then it would show its blank face, turn around, bend over, and would start spreading its butt cheeks, revealing a large, shiny, glittering eye right where its anus should be. This is when people would either get stunned and it would walk away, or people would scream and run in horror, leaving it behind, never to be seen again. I guess they are a bit like those exhibitionists that like to flesh private parts at unwilling people. Nuppeppo. This creature is a big blob of flesh that dwells around temples, cemeteries, deserted streets, or other rundown areas. It stands at about the same height of an average 12 to 13-year-old female human, and it has fat, stubby limbs with short, swollen fingers. Also, there appears to be a hint of a face in the fold of skin in its fat body, but a definite head is hard to discern. So just imagine a saggy Mr. Potato Head, which instead of a nice potato shape, replace it with a sagging blob of skin and flesh. They don't seem to be harmful. Rare accounts of them says that they are usually alone, wandering aimlessly and bobbing about in desolate places, and would emit a horrible pungent smell of rotting flesh that could make you sick. They seemed to like the sight of people getting nauseous, that you could hear a gagging laughter coming from them, and for a fat blob of flesh, they could actually move pretty fast and could outrun most humans when needed. But seeing how people can't breathe near them, most people would pass out or run out of breath rather quickly because of their smell, which makes catching them seems impossible. Sagari and Uma no Ashi. Sagari means hanging, and Uma no Ashi means horse's legs. I bundled these two yokai together because these yokai involves the spirits of horses attached to trees. So, they are the spirits from horses that died by humans or while serving humans and were left to rot on the roads. It is said that when the spirits of the horses rise from their bodies, their souls could get caught in the nearby trees and thus becomes trapped in the branches. The Sagari is a dismembered horse head that appears by suddenly dropping down from the tree, especially hackberry trees, to startle travelers on the road. It would hang on a branch and start screaming and crying and making horse sounds, all with the face of a suffering dead horse. So they don't really do anything dangerous when they show themselves, but those who are subjected to these scare may develop a terrible fever after some time. Now the Uma no Ashi is pretty similar in that they would drop down and hang on a branch, but horse legs would appear instead of a severed horse head, and all the hanging legs would do is just kick passers-by. But getting kicked by a horse is no joke, so it's probably more dangerous than the Sagari.